I spent $10,000 making Thanksgiving perfect for a family that never wanted me there. And then they told me not to come. So I took the one thing I knew they couldn't replace. And I didn't regret it. You don't realize how much you've been begging to be loved until the silence hits harder than any slap. I used to think that if I just worked harder, tried more, gave enough, my father would see me again. Not look at me, not hear me. I mean see me. The way he saw Jenna. The way he saw his new wife, Celeste. The way he used to see me before my mother died, when the world still made sense and family meant something warm. But that kind of love. That was a door that closed a long time ago. And this year, I thought I found a way to wedge it back open. I thought if I threw the perfect Thanksgiving dinner, I could buy my way back in. And believe me, I tried. $10,000. That's how much I spent trying to earn a seat at a table that never had a place card with my name on it. $10,000 for linen napkins, engraved invites, a gourmet chef flown in from Oregon, personalized gifts for each child, including Jenna's 4 boys, and custom decor that matched the family tartan my dad always brags about at reunions, though he's never bothered to explain it to me. I even rented heating lamps for the patio and commissioned a calligrapher to write handwritten name cards. I spent 3 nights repainting the guest bathroom after Celeste made an offhand comment that Elira's place always smells like lavender and regret. I laughed when she said it. Pretended I didn't hear the snort from Jenna across the room. But when my daughter, Amira, asked why Nana Celeste didn't hug me goodbye that night, I wanted to scream. Instead, I ordered a centerpiece shaped like a cornucopia, filled with 24-carat dusted pears and silk-wrapped roses. Like a fool. Because I thought that maybe, just maybe, they'd walk into my home, feel the love stitched into every detail, and finally say, "You matter." 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, my dad called. "You sure you're okay hosting this year, Elira? That's a lot for one person." He always said my name like it was a word he'd never really gotten the taste for. "I'm good, Dad," I said, forcing cheer into my voice. "I want to do this. I can do this." He hesitated. Long enough that I wondered if he was already preparing to take it away from me. But then he just said, "Okay. Jenna and the boys are excited. Don't go too overboard." Too late. I'd already paid a $2,800 deposit on the catering. I wasn't just going overboard. I was halfway to drowning. But I didn't care. This was going to be my moment. The moment I rebuilt something. For Amira. For me. For the mother I lost. My mom, Lysandra, used to say, "You can't force people to hold space for you, but you can build your own room and invite them in." So I did. I built it with gold-trimmed glasses, velvet drapes, and hand-stitched cushions that matched the autumn foliage outside. Amira helped. She made little leaf place cards with everyone's names on them, misspelling Jenna as Gina, and calling it a grown-up name mistake. I didn't correct her. She drew turkeys on the fridge and whispered, "They'll like us this time, Mama." I smiled. Because I had to. But that's the thing about hope. It keeps you warm until the moment someone uses it to burn you. And that moment came 3 days before Thanksgiving. I had just finished steaming the satin table runners when my phone buzzed. Family group chat. The one I was never part of until I was finally hosting. "Dad, change of plans. We'll do Thanksgiving at Jenna's instead. Less stress on Elira." Less stress? I read it 5 times. My hands shaking so hard I dropped my phone onto the floor. I blinked. Waited. Wondered if this was some mistake, some joke, some early April Fool's staged in November. But then Jenna chimed in. "Jenna, yeah, better for the boys. Your place is kind of small for the whole family." Celeste added a heart emoji. And just like that, I was uninvited. Unseen. Undone. I didn't say anything at first. I just sat down on the kitchen floor. Right there, next to the rosemary butter I had prepped for the turkey. Amira came in 5 minutes later. She was holding the name card she made for her grandfather. She looked up at me with those enormous brown eyes, my eyes, and said, "Mama, are they still coming?" I couldn't speak. I just pulled her into my lap and wrapped my arms around her. I held her so tight she squirmed. "Why aren't they coming, Mama?" "They changed their minds," I said softly. "They don't want to come anymore." "But you made it so pretty." I helped. "I know, sweetheart. Did they get mad at you again?" And in that moment, I felt something inside me crack. Not the sharp kind of break that makes you scream. No, this was quieter. It was the kind of break you don't hear until all the pieces are scattered and no one's coming to help you clean it up. I called my dad the next morning. He didn't pick up. I called again at lunch. He finally answered. Elira. Just my name. No hello. I saw the message, I said. Was it a mistake? No. We just figured it would be easier this way. Jenna already has most of the stuff prepped. Dad, I spent $10,000. Then I'll reimburse you. That's not the point. Silence. Then he said the thing that shattered what little glue I had left holding me together. You don't need to make everything a performance, Elira. This wasn't a contest. A performance? You were trying too hard. You always do. And people notice. It makes them uncomfortable. Uncomfortable. Uncomfortable like grief. Like loss. Like not fitting into your own bloodline. So I'm not welcome? I asked. Let's just skip this year, okay? Skip me, he meant. Just like they'd been skipping me since the day my mom died. That night, I didn't sleep. I walked through the house like a ghost. Past the table I had set. The garland I had draped. The candles I had trimmed and measured to burn exactly 7 hours. Long enough to last through dinner and dessert. And then I looked at the cabinet in the corner. The one that used to hold my mother's music box. The one Dad took after the funeral and claimed it belonged to the family. But family had never included me. Not really. So why should he get to keep the only piece of her that ever made me feel seen? He told me I was too much. Too emotional. Too intense. Fine. Then let me be intense. Let me be just enough to do what he never expected. I picked up the phone. Texted my babysitter. Told her I needed an hour the next day. And on Thanksgiving morning, while the sun barely lit the driveway, I got in my car and drove to the house where I grew up, but was never truly raised. I knew the passcode. Celeste never changed it. I walked into the den. Opened the cabinet. And there it was. Still there. The music box with the etched peacock on top, chipped on the left wing, just like I remembered. I took it. Left a note on the cabinet shelf. She gave it to me and you took it. Now I'm just taking it back. And then I left. I didn't cry. I didn't shake. I didn't even look back. Because I had finally realized something. You can spend $10,000 trying to earn a place at someone else's table, but if they never wanted to set a seat for you, all you're doing is catering their contempt. And I was done feeding people who only ever left me starving. I didn't even get 5 minutes before the phone started ringing. Not once. Not twice. 10 missed calls before noon. All from Jenna. Then a single text from my dad. Bring it back. That box isn't yours. No, happy Thanksgiving. No, are you okay? Just those 6 words, like a gavel slamming down on whatever imaginary trial he'd been holding in his head for years. Bring it back. The same words he used the time I borrowed one of Mom's scarves for a school play in 7th grade. The time I used her old cookie cutters for Amira's birthday. The time I tried to read her favorite poem at the family's New Year's toast and he cut me off mid-sentence. Bring it back. Translation. You don't get to keep her. We do. But I wasn't a child anymore. And I wasn't bringing it back. Amira and I spent Thanksgiving alone. I made us pancakes shaped like turkeys. We wore fuzzy socks and watched old movies on the couch. She kept asking when Grandpa would come. When Auntie Jenna's boys would run through the hallways like they always did. I didn't answer. I couldn't lie to her, but the truth felt too heavy for her tiny hands. So I just smiled and brushed her curls behind her ear, the way my mom used to do for me when I had bad dreams. Sometimes people forget what matters, I told her. But that doesn't mean we have to forget. By Friday, the messages got more aggressive. Jenna again. This is seriously messed up. It's just a box. Then Celeste. If you really wanted peace, you wouldn't stir things up like this. And finally my dad. You have until the end of the weekend to return it. After that, I'll handle it my way. Handle it his way. What did that even mean? For a man who rarely raised his voice, he had a way of making silence sound like a loaded gun. I thought about returning it. Briefly. Just to keep the peace. Just to go back to pretending. But every time I touched the box, I felt her. My mother. I could almost hear the soft clicking sound it made when she opened it, the lullaby that played, soft and broken now from years of wear. I remembered the way she'd let me wind it up on Sunday mornings, the way she'd tuck little notes and dried flowers inside when she went on her mama retreats. And I remembered the day of her funeral. How I had asked my dad if I could have one thing. Just one thing that had been hers. He told me no. Told me I was too young. Too fragile. That it would just get lost anyway. But then I saw Jenna with the silk shawl. Saw Celeste wearing her ring. Saw them split her life like it was a pie they'd earned the right to eat. And me? I got nothing. Not even a voice at the table. So no, I wasn't bringing it back. But I didn't expect what came next. Saturday morning. Amira was outside playing hopscotch on the front walk, and I was folding laundry in the kitchen when I saw the SUV pull into the driveway. Dark gray. New. I knew that car. It was Dad's. The same one he didn't drive unless it was for something important. Family reunions, weddings, funerals. I stepped out onto the porch. He didn't get out at first. Just sat there, engine running, like he was waiting for me to come to him. I didn't. Finally, the door opened. And out he stepped. No smile. No warmth. Just stone. Elira, he said, as if we were strangers meeting at a bank. Dad. He glanced toward the window, probably looking for signs of the box. You know why I'm here. I assumed it was to apologize. His jaw tightened. I'm serious. So am I. I crossed my arms. The wind was sharp that morning. Cold. The kind that cut through your coat and straight into your bones. Just like him. She gave that to me, I said. Before she got sick. She told me it was mine someday. She never wrote that in the will. Oh, so now you care about paperwork? She knew Jenna would take care of her things. I laughed. I actually laughed. Because if he believed that, then he didn't know either of us at all. Jenna took care of herself. She always has. And you let her. Elira. No, let me talk. The words came fast, wild, tumbling from the place I'd been keeping them caged for 10 years. You cut me out after she died. You stopped coming to school plays. You skipped Amira's 3rd birthday. You only call when you want something or when Celeste forces you to make peace for appearance's sake. That's not true. You uninvited me from my own Thanksgiving dinner. He didn't speak. Didn't flinch. Just stared at me like I was a problem he couldn't solve. You don't get to silence me anymore, I said. Not with guilt. Not with money. Not with your disappointment. And then I said the one thing I never thought I'd say. I don't need your permission to remember my mother. There was silence. Even the wind seemed to stop, as if the world was waiting for him to respond. But all he did was nod once, sharp, slow, and turn to walk back toward the car. Halfway there he paused. She'd be ashamed of this, Elira. I felt the sting rise in my chest. And then I let it go. No, Dad, I said quietly. She'd be ashamed of you. He left without another word. And just like that, the war was declared. That night, Jenna posted a photo on Facebook. Her perfect Thanksgiving table. Crystal glasses. Gold-rimmed plates. 4 smiling boys and 1 smug caption. Thankful for the family that always shows up. Yellow heart. I scrolled through the comments. Oh my gosh, stunning. Such a beautiful family. Missing your sister? Where's Elira this year? To which Jenna replied. Some people choose drama over family. We're choosing peace. My hand trembled as I read it. But I didn't respond. Not yet. Because now I knew the game they were playing. And I was done playing by their rules. Monday morning, I walked into the lawyer's office. Not for revenge. Not even for justice. Just for truth. Because there was one thing none of them counted on. My mother didn't trust easily. And before she died, she left me something they didn't know about. A sealed envelope. She told me not to open it until I felt strong enough. And I had waited years. But that morning, with Amira coloring quietly by my side and the weight of my own silence finally lifted, I opened it. And inside, her handwritten wishes. Her private will. Not legal. Not binding. But real. And in it, she wrote, The music box is for Alira. She always heard what others missed. So no. I didn't take something that wasn't mine. I took the one thing they'd always regret losing. Proof. Proof that I mattered to her. That I wasn't forgotten. That I was more than the emotional daughter, or the difficult sister, or the woman they tolerated for appearances. I was hers. And they couldn't erase that, no matter how many holidays they hosted without me. You'd be amazed how quickly people change their tone when you have proof. That Monday, I didn't just walk into the lawyer's office. I walked in with something they couldn't explain away with passive-aggressive texts or carefully edited social media captions. I walked in with her voice. My mother's handwriting was always a little messy. She used to joke that it looked like a squirrel ran through ink and panicked across the page. But the words in the envelope were clear. Unmistakable. To my daughter Alira. If they don't listen to your words, let them read mine. This music box is yours. You always understood me. You knew when I needed space, and you knew when I needed someone to just sit with me in the quiet. You never asked for anything in return. So this is yours. Not because of what it's worth, but because of what it holds. That last line hit like a heartbeat echoing in my chest. Because of what it holds. It wasn't about the music box. It never was. It was about history, memory, identity. It was about being seen. The lawyer, Mr. Pembrose, raised an eyebrow as I laid the letter out on his desk. This isn't a legal codicil, he said cautiously. Not something I could enforce in court. I know, I replied, but I think it's enough for the family to stop pretending I stole something. He read the note again, slower this time. Sometimes, he murmured, truth matters more than legality. I nodded. Because for the first time in years, my truth was finally louder than their version of the story. By Tuesday, the group chat came alive again. This time it was Celeste. Jenna told Dad you're threatening legal action. Is that true? I replied simply. No. I just showed a lawyer the letter Mom left me. 5 minutes of silence. Then Jenna chimed in. You forged that. There it was. The desperation. The fear. The deflection. I almost didn't respond. I almost let her scream into the void. But I couldn't. Not this time. You were too busy fighting for her wedding ring to notice she was writing goodbye letters. She left one for each of us. I just opened mine last week. I have the postmarked envelope. The original paper. Her handwriting. You want to talk proof? I have it. You want to test it in court? Go ahead. More silence. Then she left the group chat entirely. Wednesday, I got a call from Celeste. Her voice was brittle, like cracked porcelain. She really left that to you? She asked, not accusing, not angry, just small. She did, I said gently. A long pause. I didn't know, she whispered. I thought she trusted Jenna more than any of us. I sighed. She trusted Jenna to perform. But that's not the same as trusting someone to see you. Celeste didn't argue. She just breathed for a while on the other end of the line. You're not coming to Christmas, are you? She asked. I hesitated. I don't know. Well, if you do, I'd like Amira to open her gifts with my kids. They miss her. My heart softened. Just a little. I'll think about it. It wasn't a full apology. Not yet. But it was something. And I'd take real effort over hollow words any day. The real confrontation came 2 days later. Another unexpected knock. But this time, it wasn't my dad. It was Jenna. Standing on my porch in a velvet coat, her hair in a perfect low bun, holding a glass dish covered in foil. Pumpkin bread. Of course. The classic peace offering of guilty family members everywhere. I opened the door but didn't move to let her in. She stood there for a moment, fidgeting with the edge of the dish. I came to talk, she said finally. I figured. I shouldn't have said what I said. Which part? I asked. The part where I was ungrateful, dramatic, or not family? She flinched. I said a lot of things I didn't mean. No. Jenna. You meant every word. That's the problem. Her eyes flicked up to mine. Fine. Maybe I did mean it in the moment. But I was angry. You embarrassed Dad. You stirred up stuff that's been settled. Settled for who? Her mouth opened, then closed again. I let the silence stretch. Then I asked the question I'd been waiting to ask for years. Why do you hate me so much? She blinked. I don't. Yes, you do. And I deserve to know why. Jenna shifted her weight. For once, she didn't have a perfectly rehearsed answer. And then, almost too softly to hear. Because she loved you differently. I didn't speak. I let her keep going. She confided in you. Even when you were a teenager. You could make her laugh when she was upset, and she'd never brush you off. With me, everything was about expectations and schedules and doing things right. But with you it was like, she could breathe. My throat tightened. You were the artist. The dreamer. I was the one who cleaned up messes. I swallowed the lump in my throat. I didn't ask for that, I said. I know, she whispered. But I resented you for it anyway. There it was. Finally. The honesty beneath the polished surface. We stood in that doorway, two women holding a decade of unspoken grief between them. And for the first time, I didn't feel smaller than her. I just felt equal. Wounded. Weathered. Real. She handed me the pumpkin bread. I don't expect forgiveness, she said. But I wanted to say it out loud. You didn't deserve how I treated you. I nodded, taking the dish. Thank you. Then, just as she turned to leave, I added. You didn't deserve how they treated you either. Mom put too much pressure on you. Dad used you as his buffer. I saw it. She paused. Looked back at me. And for once, she didn't look like my rival. She looked like my sister. That night, I lit a candle by the window. Not for Thanksgiving. Not even for the holidays. Just for my mom. For the woman who saw all her children differently, and loved us in ways we each carried like a private map through the world. Amira curled up beside me with her favorite book. Her little fingers tangled with mine as we read the story. And I realized something. I didn't need their table. I had my own. And maybe someday, they'd sit at it with me again. Not as judges, but as equals. But even if they didn't, I was finally free of needing their seat to know my worth. So no, I don't regret taking the music box. Because I didn't take a thing. I reclaimed a voice. A connection. A truth. The one thing they'll always regret losing was the version of me who stayed quiet. And she's never coming back. It's strange, the silence that follows a storm. 4 years, I'd equated silence with absence, rejection, even. When my texts went unanswered, when my voice was drowned out by louder ones at the table, I thought that meant I didn't matter. But now, in the quiet of my own home, with no performance to maintain, no seat to beg for, I've started to hear something else in the silence. Peace. The music box sits on a shelf in my bedroom now. Not on display like a trophy. Not locked away like contraband. Just there. Some nights, I wind it up. I let the melody drift into the room. Amira likes to fall asleep to it. Says it reminds her of fairy tales. And maybe she's right. But to me, it's a lullaby with layers. It's the sound of being remembered. Of being chosen. Of belonging, even when no one else is clapping for you. Thanksgiving came and went. There were no calls. No second invitations. No Instagram captions with forced apologies or side-eye references to family drama. Just nothing. And that's okay. Because I've stopped waiting for people to become the version of themselves I hoped they'd be. I've stopped twisting myself into someone they could tolerate. And maybe one day, they'll remember what was lost when they pushed me out. Maybe they won't. But I will remember. I will remember that my voice matters. Even when it shakes. That boundaries aren't bitterness. That some things are worth walking away from. Even when you spent years holding them together. So now I ask you, was I wrong to take what they never gave freely? Or was that the first moment I finally stood up for the version of myself my mother actually loved? If you've ever had to reclaim something precious, your voice, your worth, your place, then maybe you'll understand. Sometimes the most powerful revenge is no longer needing to be invited back.